Okay, welcome back, everybody. I'm here with my friend Yvonne. Yvonne, say hello.
Hello.
Oh, wow, you're very calm and astute now. Hello, my name is Yvonne. Okay, we're going to get into Yvonne's reading. Yvonne, have you ever seen your four pillars chart before? Has anybody ever talked to you about it? No. So everything that you're going to see right now is totally brand new, and we're going to be able to capture your actual authentic reaction to this, whether it's good or bad. Yes?
Yep.
Okay. All right. I guess there's a little bit of a delay, but we'll do what we can here. So just interrupt me at any time if you want to ask anything. But guys, if you are interested in seeing her chart and following along with us, I highly recommend that. I'll post a link down in the description, or I might even just copy like a photo or something, like a snapshot, so you can just take a look at this stuff. But you're able to see the chart for yourself, right, Yvonne? Okay.
Yeah.
So, are you familiar with Western astrology, like with signs? Like I'm an Aries or a Taurus or whatever?
Yes, I'm a Gemini.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see if there's any correlation between the Gemini and what we're about to unleash here with Chinese astrology. So, your sign, let's say that you and I are both going to take a trip to the Grand Canyon, and you decide to climb a mountain, and I decide to go next to a river. Now, technically, both of us are in the Grand Canyon, and we're just seeing the Grand Canyon in all its glory, and we're like, oh, this Grand Canyon is amazing. But you have a different perspective. You have a different set of eyes from where you are than compared to me. So we see things in a little bit different way. That's the perfect analogy for what your sign is. So the red character in the day that you're born, called the Ruzu, or the day master, that red character is your sign. So that's your perspective. Now, your perspective, anyone's perspective, can be one of 10 different characters or different signs. And it's the yin or yang version of one of the wuxing, one of the 5 phases, or the 5 elements, as we call it in English. So your element is, so now we're just going to make sure, oh, this is the different one. I almost said it wrong. Your day master is yin fire. So if you can see, the character is actually Ding. It's the 5th heavenly stem, or number 5 of the Tiangan in Chinese. And you have the exact same sign as me. So welcome to the club. It's a yin fire sign. So yin is different than yang because it's softer and it's quieter and it's more gentle and it's longer lasting. So if you can imagine, yin fire is more like a burning ember or a soft little candle flame that flickers a little bit here or there. It's not like the glaring sun in your eyes, or like a laser beam, or like this roarous fire that's just consuming everything. No, it's different. So it's more like a gentler, more reserved kind of flame. That's your set of eyes. And there's so everything that we're going to go through with your reading is going to be from that standpoint. So once I can open up the actual file here on my phone, because I took a snapshot of Yvonne's, here it is, of her chart, so that I can just read it off my phone as we go along here. So the first thing I will say, unless you have a question about your own life this year or whatever, is we're going to talk about how you were raised from your mom and dad. So right off the bat, I can see that now there's one parent who's a little bit different than the other parent, and I'll guess, and usually I'm 50% of the time correct, because it's either mom or dad, whoever you really see eye to eye with. But one parent, you definitely take after them, and I want to say it's mom, because I feel like mom is the one who also has the same kind of passion, also has the same kind of warmth and heat, and can be very talkative and very blah 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 blah, and go on and on and on about things. So there's one parent like that.
Oh yeah, my mom can bargain.
Okay. So it's almost like sometimes if you're on her good side, you and her can be just like buddy buddy, like perfect, like running around together and like frolicking, especially when like you were a little kid. Like she could really be playful with you, but you also conflict with her in the same stubborn way that she's stubborn. And that's really, really clear off the bat. So we can get into that a little bit, but I want to talk about your dad too. So dad is very different. Dad is where you get your creative side from. That is where you get your sense of giving and sense of nurturing from. Because in your eyes, in your perspective, growing up, it wasn't really like he was taking care of you, even though he was. It was more like in your eyes, you saw that you had to do everything to take care of dad, everything to take care of daddy. And you're going to help him with this or that. And you really have a special bond that way with him. That's different from mom. It's like you can be much closer to him without him feeling imposed upon like mom would. Like if you got really, really close to mom, eventually she's going to be like, get out of my space. This is my thing. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's why I live far away from her. I learned that lesson.
Well, maybe that's a solution for you. When we go to the part of your reading where we talk about the feng shui, then we can see if the West Coast is actually good for you or not. But I have a feeling it is. Anyway, let's go on. So that's basically how you grew up. And then so each reading, guys, we have 4 pillars in each reading because we have the year, month, day, and time that a person's born, but they can also very roughly talk about the different 4 groups of, or the different periods in a person's life. Like most people have 4 periods in their life. Sometimes the energies don't really change from one period to another. And sometimes they're very, very different. And if they're very different, we can see like, oh man, I felt like my life just changed like that when I was 23 or when I was 56 or when I was 16. This kind of thing happens all the time. So I can see that in the next period of your life, which is the period where you really start to grow into your own shoes, or you have the opportunity to do it. After you leave home and try to establish your own life, you have some very different energy coming to you. And the first thing I can see is that it might have been very difficult because it seemed like the outside world, circumstances, people, different social situations were restricting you harshly. They were preventing you from going forward in a place because it was almost like you'd find yourself in a situation where a lot of people would find you annoying and also want to tell you to shut up or like be quiet or like your thing isn't true. Your thing isn't right.
Yeah, the thing that they don't. That's annoying to me. If you wanted me to shut up, just say so.
Well, they feel that way and they feel almost infringed upon, but it's not their fault necessarily, because what I see basically is we've got yin, water, earth, the yin, water, heavenly stem going after your rutsu, your daymaster. So we've got water versus fire, and it's yin water, and yin water is the biggest kryptonite to yin fire. If it was yang water, it would be a little bit less intense of like going directly at you. But it also means that guys are easily attracted to you too, or that suitors can come to you because they see a certain receptiveness that you have in the way that you conduct yourself with the world. So you're open, I guess you can say in a simple term, like you're open to a certain extent where maybe you find yourself following alongside rather than taking a leadership position. But on the other hand, you also have a very different kind of energy at the same time, which is yang fire. So you have the same type of motherly kind of, it's like mom's impression on you as a kid stuck with you. So you interact with certain people in the same way that your mother would interact with you. And the other group of people, you feel like they're there to kind of discipline you or to kind of get in your way and kind of teach you, okay, this is my boundary, whatever. But nonetheless, all of this energy is really rapid and moving. You're all about being free, like this idea of your energy can just go and do whatever you want it to because you have this inspiration and it just has to go, right? Like it can't just stop and be stuck. That's the worst thing for you. You don't feel comfortable doing that. Are we good so far?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, no criticisms or anything. It's funny because everybody, like, you don't know her like I do, but she's pretty chatty and talkative like me. So it's probably a good sign she's just sitting there and like, maybe so.
I'm agreeing with you.
So I'm sorry, I'm just poking at you. But we're both really bubbly. And a lot of times that bubbly and close kind of nature of wanting to interact with people can off-put them. They don't like it. It makes them feel uncomfortable. Do you sense that with certain people here and there? And it feels like, oh, I don't really know how to like step around these people. I have to kind of like hide inside myself and not let them see too much of my at a time. Do you know what I mean? Because fiery people
You
tend.
know what? At this age right now, I don't really.
No,
Give
that's
it, you know.
awesome. Exactly. Screw it. Like, eventually, you know
You're
what I mean.
talking about
though.
me like when I was a teen, yes.
Mhm.
You know, but at this age, I'm like, whatever.
Well, I'm not going to say it's good or bad. It's sad to me personally because I know how it is, but it's also not necessarily a bad thing because it can teach us how to utilize fire in a situation, because fire is a very powerful element. It has a tendency to kind of either be really, really good or really, really bad in a situation. Because, for example, you can have
I cause bad things to happen.
Well, I mean,
fire.
Fire people are much easier to be impulsive than other people. They're easier to be addicted to things. They're easier to want to be like, oh, there's something, I have inspiration. Bye-bye. Just go. Like, there's no hesitation with fire people who have a lot of fire. And so with you, actually, I should have taken another picture because I'm going to have to go in and look at this other thing that I want to know, but we'll keep going. So that's basically that when we're looking at the month that she's born, we're looking at that fire, and yin water in the same pillar. That's really the energy that she uses to conduct herself in everyday affairs, in public matters, with her friends, her colleagues, and with how she carries herself forward. Like, we all have this kind of gestation period when we're kids, and then when we're first set off into the world, we are able to really conduct ourselves in the manner that we have picked up upon. That second stage of life is the energy that we kind of carry with us as our first tool belt, as the first line of what we have to use with ourselves. It's what we're most comfortable with, what we're most familiar with energetically. So you're a fire, you're a watery person, so there's a lot of steam and you can cook things, I guess. Do you like steamed veggies?
So I have a question because you said
Yeah.
yin and then yang.
Yep.
So, but they're not clashing?
They can.
Is that what you meant?
Here's the thing. That's an excellent question. I love that you bring that up. So oftentimes in a person's chart, we can say like, okay, you're a fire sign, right? So if we see fire here, fire there, some of the fire might be yin fire, some of the fire might be yang fire. For you, every time that you have yang fire come up to you or interact with you in your chart or in your environment, you can click with these people, because the one thing you have in common is the aliveness that fire is. However, you clash in a very particular way. You clash in a way within something that you don't clash. So like, you're all fire, but within that fire grouping, your fire, the yin fire, your set of eyes, is that you want to have things burn slowly and long, like a nice gentle flame that lasts for hours and hours and hours and hours, like coals burning or roasting a pig inside the ground. Doesn't that sound good? Just like that kind of slow kind of thing.
Now I'm hungry.
Yeah, me too. But like a loyal kind of love that doesn't burn too hot or fast is yin fire. The kind of fire that's like just like flamethrower, like it burns really, really hot, really, really fast, and it's done and gone and quick and over. That's yang fire. And if you notice, actually, most of my fire in my own chart is yang fire. It's called Bijie in Chinese, one of the 10 gods, Shishen. it describes a kind of interaction that we have with different types of energies. And with your chart, when I go back to it, you have some of those challenges in being that the only fire that you have, which is your own kind, yin fire, is that of your perspective. All the other fire that you have to use is the opposite kind of fire, is yang fire. So you have a very particular challenge that I have, and I actually haven't seen this in a whole lot of charts. It doesn't happen as common as this, but here's a good analogy for what it feels like sometimes. So let's pretend that there's this child in an orphanage in some, I hate to say it, but like third world country, or some country that doesn't really have any sort of social safety net for children that are disenfranchised. So let's say he escapes from this terrible orphanage. They don't feed him right. They abuse him, whatever, but he escapes. He runs away, and now he's on the streets. So imagine he's sitting on the streets and he's got his head down like this. And he's just like, oh God, what am I going to do? And he's just afraid. Now, along comes this gang of street kids who steal and lie and cheat their way through life to survive. They come over and they say, hey, buddy, we're here. They wipe off his tears. They give him a hug. They say, you're family. You're one of us now. Let's teach you how to lie, cheat, and steal. It's this kind of Robin Hood kind of effect where this energy comes through and just kind of takes you off. And you're kind of just like, oh, okay, well, I can see how wonderful they are because they're fire. But, oh, geez, I really don't see things the same way they do. And they act on that fire in the totally opposite way that I would act on. It's that kind of Slumdog Millionaire sense. If you've seen that movie, I love that movie because it's like his brother and he both grow up and they see eye to eye. They both really love each other, but they make very different choices and they have very different outcomes in their lives. So it's kind of like that. You have a lot of that going on. So this fire seems very inviting to you and like, oh, come on, let's be family, let's be one. But then they take you away in that current and it takes you off to a place that your true inner heart doesn't really want to go to. You are prone to that. It's very difficult to overcome because to you, it's like, even with me right now, the way I'm talking right now is very young fire, right? It's very boom, boom. It's like flamethrower. It comes naturally to me. But this energy within myself, I realize I have to kind of reel it back and I have to moderate it a bit. Otherwise, it becomes too hot, too heavy, and too draining at once. So you've probably just naturally learned about this as you've gone through life to say, well, here's my limits. And you can kind of see that with how you interact with your daughter too, because she is yang fire as well. But it's a different kind of endowment. We'll get into that in a little bit because this is an interesting chart. But let me go back to here. If this shows up on
my daughter is a pea.
Your father is a dragon. Or here's what we should say. Here's the disclaimer. It doesn't mean he is a dragon by looking at this chart and seeing that the dragon in this or her father will be. It's simply that in your eyes, Yvonne, you see him as a dragon in the relationship quality that you have together with him. So the dragon is to the yin fire sign an object of receiving your love and your giving and your commitment. Like you feel a sense of obligation, I guess, to dad, but you like it. Like it makes you feel good because that's what Earth does to fire types. It makes them feel good. It's their artistic side. Okay, so what I'm looking at here, I'll provide another screenshot of her net transformative tendencies of the 5 phases. I'm going to take a picture of this and send this to you, Yvonne. I'm just going to do a screenshot because this is the part that I should have sent you. So I'm sorry about that. I should have been more prepared. But today is a wood day. I think I might make another video after this to talk about what wood does to certain people in certain circumstances. But wood will definitely excite fire today if you have a lot of fire already. I guess I can send this on here. I'll just do this. I'll take a picture because my computer is kind of like CPU power. So I hope to God, please, that this recording is not choppy or compromised in some way because I've been trying to make recordings work for me in this very wooden month that we've had, and it's been just making me so angry. But let me take a photo here, if my phone's going to work on me too. Boom. I'm taking a screenshot, literally in every sense of the word. I'm going to send it to Yvonne. But in her net transformative tendencies of the 5 phases, if you're looking at that right now as the graph, you see that center line, boom, it's all the way up there, 45.25%. That means, Yvonne, you're almost half by volume fire. That means of all the energy that you have to use within every bit of your being, half of it is very lively, very bustling, very warm. It's also very intimate. Like fire likes to go close to people and things. It likes to interact very intimately with its environment. If you notice how a fire burns in the forest, it isn't burning there and then asking the wood permission where it can burn. It's not like, hey, excuse me, I've noticed that your fuel looks very delicious. Do you mind if I jump over here? No, it's like, boom, it just goes wherever it wants to and wherever it can. That's the sporadic nature of it, and the nature that it likes to be compulsive. Finally, okay, my Facebook chat is just coming up. I just pressed on you, but it's freezing up. Of course it would. I mean, of course it would do this right when I'm recording.